Jalen Samuels, in his second year out of North Carolina State, joins the Duck in the gun. Twins flexed right. Duck wants to throw. He's back. And he throws the pass, and it's intercepted running up the sideline. Look out. Here comes a Buffalo Bill with that football. And that is Tre'Davious White, and he's going to be tracked down. He got to the 18-yard line. And that was Matt Filer who finally caught him. Yeah. He jumped the route, and you could just see it developing.
Oh, how quickly things can change. Welcome back to 5-Star Matchup, presented by Steel City Blitz. If you dig our content, please make sure to subscribe and follow us on Twitter. Hey, I was at this game. Let's start with the only unit that matters, defense. Awesome play by TJ here to escape the block and get up to deflect this pass. Incredible ascension in still just his third year. Over to the offense now, and man was it nice having Connor back. It's easy to forget because he's missed time, but he's by far the most talented runner on this team, and it showed on his unfortunately few touches this week. Great, shifty run. Little later on, a 3rd and 14, Duck heaves one into double coverage and it's picked. Essentially a punt, so not that bad, but I'm pretty sure the game plan for the third-string quarterback should include never throwing at one of the best corners in the league, but here we are. Later in the first, still 0-0, and we officially have our first game-changing play. Barry decides to follow up his sick fake from last week with a punt that my 9-year-old niece could have kicked further. Woof. Usually not a good sign when the punter is in the frame as it gets down. But have no fear, because the D is here. Future Defensive Player of the Year TJ meets Vince for a lunch date at the QB and puts Buffalo behind the 8 ball. Great start, but now 3rd and 18, and Allen runs for 12. This is a huge part of his game and something they should have been prepared for. Buffalo goes for it on 4th and 6 and converts to John Brown, who was really their only major contributor at receiver. While Nelson's had a great season, he has been getting beat just a little bit more of late, something to keep an eye on. Into the second quarter now, and Singletary forces more missed tackles than there were season ticket holders in the stadium, setting them up at the 1. Next play, Allen does what he does and walks it in for the score. Hines, unfortunately and sickeningly, erupts with blue and red tinted cheers. Now it's time for the Duck to respond. Never afraid to chuck it deep, Hodges slings it out to Jay Wash, who makes another combat catch. Great catch by Washington, but unfortunately a bit underthrown in my opinion. If Duck gets more on this, it's a touchdown. Some of you said I was being negative when I said he's gotten lucky with some throws, but it's clear to me that he doesn't have enough arm strength. Drive stalls, but Boz converts as always. Steelers on the board, but Bills lead 7-3. Another awesome defensive play, this time by Godzilla Cam, who somehow hangs in the air for a month and a half to tip this pass. Great play by the captain. Late second quarter now, Allen drops back with a ton of time and slings it high over the middle, and it's picked by Nelson. This was a monumental play that had the ability to change the game completely. This defense is as fun to watch as any unit I've seen in a long, long time. However, as fun as that defense is, this offense is the complete and total opposite. Let's take a look now at one of the worst play calls I have ever seen in my life, and no, that's not hyperbole. First and goal from the 10, Coach Randy dials up the Wildcat. Pounce rolls his 100th terrible snap of the season, and the handoff to Deontay is botched and fumbled. Consider this: James Conner has never run the Wildcat to my or his recollection in college or the pros. Not only that, he's handing it off to a wide receiver who, while dynamic, is also a huge fumble risk. And of course, you have the bad snap that screws up the timing of the entire thing. Just hand it off to your best player, Connor, 3 times and kick the field goal if you need to. 3 points is huge. A complete and total failure in concept, theory, and execution. I love Pouncey, but what the is his deal with the snaps? He's been doing this all year. Into the second half now, and Duck throws a beautiful ball to Johnson, who catches and runs for a big gainer. Again, he fumbles, but it's luckily recovered by ex-Steeler Tevin Jones. Deontay has the ability to be special, but he's got to start hanging on to the ball. A few plays later, Connor gets it, and to steal a phrase from Chris Berman, whoop! And he gets it down to the 10 on a sick run. James is clearly the most talented skill player on the team, and it's a travesty that he only had 8 carries in this one. 2 plays later, Duck swings it out to the same James, who straight refuses to be tackled and takes it in for the score. Steelers take the lead and momentum, 10-7. Later on in the third, Bills driving and TJ pads his stats with another forced fumble, and the Steelers have the chance to totally take control of this one. Really poor pocket awareness by Duck here, who gets strip sacked. Luckily recovered, but sometimes the play is over, man. Just eat it. Next play and more of the same. Steelers said after the game that Buffalo threw new blitzes at them that they hadn't seen before. It showed. After the D gets another stop, Steelers putting together a little drive, again with the chance to take control, and in the flap of a wing, Tre'Davious White is taking it the opposite way. Great hustle by Filer to force him out, but terrible, terrible play by Duck. Probably his most egregious mistake as a Steeler. As I said earlier, shouldn't be throwing against White anyway, and most definitely not from the far hash with a weaker than necessary arm. Add in the fact that it was late and inside, and you have a recipe for duck soup. Luckily, the defense is made of literal miracle workers, and they somehow hold the Bills to 3, and we've got a tie ball game. All things considered, it could be much worse. Renegade plays to pump up the crowd, and the only one it seems to pump up is John Brown, who mosses Steve Nelson for a huge game. The D had been so locked down to this point that I don't think Buffalo ever scores another touchdown without a chunk play like this. Too much time for Allen leads to a killer play. Singletary again slices through the D, which wasn't great against the run all night, and the Bills are set up. 3rd and 9 now, and Edmonds gets cooked in zone coverage by a tight end who hadn't scored since 2017, and the Bills take a seemingly insurmountable 7-point lead. Heinz Field again erupts in Western New York accented cheers as my stomach churns. Steelers' next possession, 3rd and 1, and Duck says F it and chucks a bomb to Jay Wash, who comes down with it again. What a player he's turning into. Gotta love Duck's moxie to chuck it here. Hodges' pocket presence kills him again, as he should just take the few yards underneath to Vanette, but instead gets sacked. 4th and 7 now, in full desperation mode, Duck heaves one into the end zone for his 3rd pick of the night. Many people have pointed out that he had Washington over the middle, and maybe he did, but for whatever reason, Duck literally did not use the middle of the field at all, so he probably never saw 13. Steelers' chances officially on life support. After a miraculous 3-and-out by the Bills, Duck gets another chance to tie it, and he makes a great timing throw to Deontay to pick up a first at the 25. 39 seconds to go. They've got a real chance here as long as they avoid negative plays. Whoops. Clock keeps ticking after the sack, and they decide to just run a play, which does not go well. Duck can't get enough behind it to give Jay Wash a chance, and it's picked for his 4th interception of the night. Unfortunately, this, quote, 5-star matchup did not go as planned for the Steelers. They finally ran into another good defense and just weren't able to score. The margin of error for the 2019 Pittsburgh Steelers is as slim as it could possibly be. Simply put, you're not going to win many games in this league with 1 touchdown and 5 turnovers. It's actually pretty amazing that they were in this game until the very end, and that says a hell of a lot about this incredible defense. Personally, I don't think Duck's game was quite as bad as it looks on paper, but it wasn't good either. My guess is that Tomlin sticks with him as the starter this week, but with a short leash. I hate to say it because Duck is the man, but I just have a feeling we will see number 2 again. P.S. If you're a Steelers season ticket holder and you sold your tickets to those Bills fans for this game, you should be legally required to forfeit them to me and anyone else on this channel that wants them. I've never heard opposing fans that loud in the Burgh, and quite frankly, I hope I never do again. For a primetime matchup, final home game, playoff chances despite no Ben, and I'm looking at dudes in blue and red Zubaz all night? Yuck.